Well, hi there, this is John Teng, and today I have a piano technician from the piano shop in Los Angeles that is here ripping apart my beautiful Steinway piano. This is actually something that I've never seen here before, and he has graciously offered to take my audience through how to maintain a piano and certainly the inner workings and some considerations on how to maintain it. So go ahead. What are we looking at right now?
Okay, you're looking at what we call the action. These are the mechanical components of a piano. These are the parts that make the piano work. When you play the keys here, many things happen. Eventually a hammer goes up and hits a string and tone is born. So the action is made up of a lot of parts. This is the hammer, the shank, repetition underneath, a back check, key felts here, key tops here, etc. This is the action, and the action has its own maintenance schedule. But first let's start with tuning. Tuning is where we adjust the tuning pins and the strings. We change the pitch and we make the pitch adjustment to where the tuning of the piano should be. That's like the oil change in your vehicle, the basic maintenance that you do twice a year, hopefully, at least once a year. In some difficult climate situations, perhaps every quarter. Back to the action. The action has its own maintenance schedule on a Steinway or any other handmade piano. Action needs what we call regulation, and regulation is an adjustment of the touch so that there's uniformity in touch from note number 1 to note number 88. They should feel uniform. And then there's of course a uniformity of tone, and that's called voicing or tone adjustment, and that is a procedure we do at the tip of the hammer to create uniformity of the tone of the piano. And lastly, there is the outside of the piano, the case. In this case, the piano's outside is a satin ebony lacquer finish. That's the New York Steinway standard. And this piano can be cleaned by the consumer in-home by some kind of a soft cloth, cheesecloth particularly, dampened. You can go over the finish and take out all the imperfections and fingerprints, etc. I can, if you send me an email, we can talk about that further. However, once every 5 to 10 years, it'll be wise to bring in a polisher, a piano refinisher, who can come to the home and go over it professionally and take care of any dents and deeper scratches that you can take out by yourself in the home.
How does this piano look right now in terms of like finishing on the outside? My kids are always touching it. Sometimes parents thought they bring food when they're taking their lessons.
It actually could use a cleaning right now. It has a lot of fingerprints, especially around the arms and the full board and the front of the piano. This is most of the contact. So yes, this could use a cleaning. It's not urgent for today. We can take care of it another time.
How about like those who make perhaps whatever type of piano they have, they want to maintain it, maybe lengthen the time in between tunings, or at least protect it as much as possible? What are some considerations?
Right. The number one thing you should do with a piano, particularly a handmade piano and particularly a Steinway, is make sure that there's enough humidity in the home. Humidity is the one thing that the piano needs to breathe. So a standard humidity requirement, the factory will tell you between 35 and 50%. I like 40 to 50%. In your home you have that, you're near the water, you're okay. I've measured it before, you're around 40 something, it's ideal. But sometimes I go to homes where in desert areas that's a problem. So we address the room in which the piano sits, we introduce humidifiers, and in other areas we introduce dehumidifiers. So there's ways, but humidity is your number one concern with a handmade piano.
How about like being near a window, a sun window? Yeah,
sun damage, it's typically a concern, particularly with the finish of the piano. So if this is right near a window and there's consistently sun on some part of the piano, some hours of the day, over a few years you'll see exactly when the sun has been, because that part gets to fade. And that affects not only the case of the piano, but direct heat on the piano affects the longevity of other parts of the piano, including belly, soundboard, bridges, and all the wooden components.
There's really a lot to playing a piano and maintaining this. I think it's important for people to understand this. It's not just buying the piano, but there's a lot of back end, that maintenance to it that needs to be factored into whatever type of piano that you invest in.
Sure. You can contact me by email if you wish, if you have questions. My website is pianoshopla.com. Piano Shop, shop is spelled S-H-O-P-P-E, Old English style, pianoshopla.com, and I can help you figure out what to do. There are also pianos there, pictures of pianos for sale, some pictures of pianos we're working on restoring for people. About 50% of my work is with families who are restoring their heirlooms, and the other 50% is restoring pianos of our own and selling them.
One of the cool features about this piano is that at Steinway, Bruce Hornsby, the pop singer, actually played this and selected it for his signature. I guess it had the right sound for him. And so we have his wonderful signature on this piano. What an honor. One other thing that I thought was interesting that we talked about was a cover for the piano, to do a custom cover. And there's
Yes.
a couple places in the country where people could
Yes.
have that done, and they could reach out to you perhaps.
Sure. Yes, we don't manufacture the covers ourselves, but I'll be happy to arrange it for people. There are different kinds. The ones that are very popular are the ones that are cushiony, and they have water resistant capabilities. I recommend them. Depending on the size of the piano, they range the value somewhere around $200-300, just to give you an idea.
Well, I mean, if you've made such an investment in a piano, I mean, covering it should be
Yes.
the smallest consideration.
Correct.
The most basic. So
I
this,
agree.
this is great. It's been actually a couple years since we've actually had the piano tuned.
Right.
And to come in here, it sounds like perhaps we need to maybe do this a little more frequent to get it back up to
Yes.
up to snuff.
Yes, we're going to do this again in a few months, because the pitch on this particular piano had gone down because you had some construction going on and you couldn't have the piano
Right.
tuned during that time. So the pitch went down, and that's very normal. That's what happens with pianos. The pitch goes down, and then bringing it up to pitch and tuning it at that pitch many times is not possible to do in one shot. So we're going to reschedule a follow-up in the near future, and then after that we'll continue our twice-a-year maintenance schedule.
Sounds like a plan. This has been wonderful. What a great education for those people who have pianos, considering a piano. Please reach out to this wonderful, wonderful resource to help you with purchasing a piano and certainly knowing how to maintain yours for the future. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.